Hello and welcome. You're watching Nothing But the Truth. This afternoon, Sonia Gandhi and Rahul Gandhi appeared in court in connection with the National Herald case. The hearing lasted just 6 minutes. They were given unconditional bail on producing a 50,000 rupee surety each, and the next hearing has been fixed for the 20th of February 2016. In sharp contrast to the simplicity with which the court proceedings happened was what looked like to many the spectacle staged by the Congress party both before and after the hearing. With me now to talk about the Congress party and the Gandhi family's response to the National Herald case is former Law Minister and former Foreign Minister Salman Khurshid. Salman Khurshid, minutes after that hearing ended today, Rahul Gandhi at a public press conference at the office of the Congress party said, Modi ji jhoote ilzam lagate hain. What false accusation has Mr. Modi made against the Gandhis in connection with the National Herald case?
Well, who's brought this case against the Gandhi
Subramaniam
family?
Swamy, an individual.
All right. An individual who belongs to a party, and that party is the BJP.
Forgive me, I hate interrupting you. The case was first admitted in court in January 2013. At that point of time, Mr. Modi wasn't in power. There was no way Mr. Modi could have been involved. Subramaniam Swamy wasn't part of the BJP. He joined the BJP 8 months later in August. So how do you connect Swamy, the initiation of the case, Modi and the BJP?
No, I can understand that. I can understand that Mr. Swamy was a public motivated and publicly charged person who wanted to get somebody to account for something that has happened. But he is now a member of the BJP, and whatever he does today would reflect on his party, and surely his party must take responsibility, or say, as you people in the media often say, when somebody writes for you or somebody speaks on your channel, that these are personal views of this person.
No, just a moment. First of all, as I said, the case was filed and accepted by the trial court in January 2013.
But summons not issued then.
That the summons were issued later. The case was accepted. Are you saying that after he then joined the BJP 8 months later, he should have gone to the court and said, I'm withdrawing the case?
No, you don't have to. You don't have to.
Are you therefore saying the BJP should not have admitted him because he had filed the case against the Congress party?
I don't know what the BJP should have
Then
done.
how can you connect the two?
But BJP, okay, forget if Mr. Swamy was to start something today. If he was to start something today, would the BJP take responsibility?
But he hasn't.
If he was to start,
this is a counterfactual that doesn't hold.
No, it doesn't hold. Something you start today, you can't do. But something you started before, you can carry on with. Is that the fine distinction that you're going to make?
See, the question I was asking you was what Rahul Gandhi said minutes after the case hearing ended today. He said, Modi ji jhoote ilzam lagate hain. Sonia Gandhi went on to say, Rajnitik virodhiyon hamare saath hamla kar rahe hain. What is the Rajnitik virodhi? What is the jhoota ilzam? What are they talking about?
If you're going only about the court proceedings today...
Well, that's what they were talking about.
No. They were not talking about that alone. They were talking about a larger issue. They didn't have to come and talk about, we got bail in 5 minutes. They didn't have to come and talk about that.
But they did. Literally 5 minutes later, they were there.
They were,
gleeful, understandably, but blaming Mr. Modi wrongly.
Should they have waited for 24 hours and then said, we want to blame Mr. Modi? This is not the only thing that's going on. There are other things that are going on about the National Herald. There are other things that are going on, and they know everything that's going on.
What are the other things going on about the National Herald case that connect to Mr. Modi and that justify what Rahul said 24 hours after the Delhi High Court had rejected your attempt to quash the case? He then said, and I'm quoting him, the National Herald case is 100% pure political vendetta coming out of the PMO. How on earth does he justify that?
How on earth he justifies that will come when the time comes to justify it. Today he has a right to say that he believes this is coming from there. If the PMO is not doing it,
you can't say the justification will come when the time comes to give the justification. You have to give it now.
Of course.
The accusation is made now.
He didn't have to justify today what happened in the National Herald. That will be justified when the charges are framed.
No, I'm not saying justify the National Herald. I'm saying justify the claim it's political vendetta coming out of the PMO.
There is nothing that you have to justify immediately. You are not going to lay out the timeline for justification. If the PMO felt that this was an unfair statement, the PMO should have given a clarification, did they?
They are saying a very strange thing. You're saying it's acceptable for a political leader to make an accusation which is actually unfounded, not justified, and your defense is, when the time comes to justify it, he'll justify it. Therefore, an unjustified statement can be made today, left hanging in the air.
You do it all the time. The media here in India does that all the time.
And you complain about it. Don't imitate the media then.
The moment you stop doing it, we'll stop doing it as well. The problem is that you have set the rules of the game. The rules of the game is if you passionately believe about somebody being wrong, you say so. And then you wait for it to be justified.
But this is bizarre. A senior former law minister, a senior former foreign minister is saying that the justification for Sonia Gandhi or Rahul Gandhi making unwarranted accusations is that the media does it, and if the media can do it, therefore we can do it?
No, I'm not saying we can do it. I'm saying what are the standard norms of public debate that you have set? You have set standard norms of public debate. I don't want to talk about, I have examples that would shame you in the media if I was to take those examples, but I don't want to. All I'm saying is you have set the standard norms of public debate.
So the media sets the standards and politicians with their tail metaphorically between their legs follow, and you say you don't have a choice.
Do we have a choice? Because that's
I thought you were leaders.
I'm sorry.
It sounds like you're being led.
This is the first time I've heard you say that we are leaders. First time. Otherwise I hear that you are the leaders and we must follow. Okay. All the time.
Let's come back to Rahul Gandhi. Rahul Gandhi today claimed, and I'm just repeating it, that Modi ji jhoote ilzam lagate hain. You say to me in due course he'll justify it.
Of course.
He hasn't as yet. The truth is that today false accusations were made not by Mr. Modi but by senior congressmen Abhishek Singhvi, Ghulam Nabi Azad and Randeep Singh Surjewala. All three repeatedly right through the day kept saying that Subramaniam Swamy has been rewarded by the BJP government for ensuring that the Gandhis have to appear in court by A, being given Z security, and B, by being given a house in Lachlan Zeddy. Not only is that an absurd connection, but I put it to you, even the facts don't stand up to support it. And yet therefore you feel free to make jhoote ilzam about others.
No, not jhoote ilzam at all. This is the perception, this is our understanding. If somebody thinks we are wrong, let them say that we are wrong. What else, how else do you get indirect evidence of anything? How else Can
I point out to you how wrong you are? Subramaniam Swamy was given Z security in 1993 by Narasimha Rao. You were a prominent member of that government. A Congress government and a Congress Prime Minister gave him Z security. Atal Bihari Vajpayee reduced it from nationwide Z security to Z security just in Tamil Nadu. In September last year, that's 14 months ago, Narendra Modi raised it back to nationwide Z security. As for the House, it wasn't Subramaniam Swamy.
But he did raise it
14 months ago.
Yeah.
Not now.
It doesn't matter. It's matter. Conspiracies don't happen overnight.
No. 14 months ago.
Conspiracies don't happen overnight. They are planned well in advance. And then comes the House. Now, surely...
Are you really suggesting
that there was a
conspiracy to bring the National Herald case, part of which was the reward for being given Z security upgraded to nationwide status?
I am not suggesting anything. I am telling you the perception that people have is the perception they've repeated.
No, this perception is the Congress perception. No one else has this perception.
No.
This is your jhoota ilzam.
No. You've just picked on 3 congressmen to say this is your perception.
One is the leader of the opposition in the Rajya Sabha.
I heard this perception.
The other is the head of your communications department.
I heard this perception.
The third is Rahul Gandhi's lawyer.
I know, I heard this perception in the streets. Now, it may be wrong. And if it's wrong, the person who thinks that this is a wrong implication about that person should come out and explain and say this is not true. The way you are exerting yourself to say this is not true, they can come out and say this is not true.
Even the limited claim that the House has been allotted in Lachlan Zeddy as a reward for bringing the Gandhis to court is not true, because if you were to inquire, your party would have found out that actually it was the CRPF who approached the government and said that guarding Mr. Swamy in Nizamuddin with 40 people is impossible because his house doesn't have anywhere to place them. Therefore the CRPF asked for the house and the government agreed. And by the way, on the same grounds, KPS Gill has been given government accommodation.
Must have.
Bitta, forgive me, a former Congress MP has been given it.
So then we know exactly how the machine works to get somebody a house and get somebody protection.
You mean you've done it as favors for people and therefore you suspect Mr. Modi is doing it? In other words, your guilty complex for yourself leads you to believe Mr. Modi is guilty.
All I'm saying, it comes from a particular agency. If someone says, I must be given a house, you say not unless the agency says that giving you a house is necessary. So that agency's report is awaited. The agency's report comes and then you take a decision. Now, the agency recognizes or understands or senses that you want a particular report. It's for the agency to decide. But you can't blame me for this. You can't blame the Congress for believing that certainly a doctored report must have been produced to get him the house. Now, if that's not the case, please prove it. Please prove it and say this is not the case.
In other words, what you're saying is you make the allegation, the onus of proving themselves innocent is on the government. That's the reverse of the legal principle, that one is innocent. You're deeming them guilty and they have to prove their innocence.
That's the principle that the Indian media has knocked out of the window many, many years ago. Now, you say, and every evening you start with an allegation and then you say, now please reply. Now, I'm afraid if that's the way...
I'm amused that politicians take their principles and their standards from the media.
We must follow the media. It's important. It is a pillar of Indian constitutional governance and therefore we must follow the media. You said the standards we follow.
I would say listen to the media and its advice would be a better way of heeding the media rather than following what you consider the media's bad practices.
No. You never considered they were bad practices. Today, please say that these are bad practices. Tomorrow I will persuade my party not to follow.
Let's come back to Rahul Gandhi, to Sonia Gandhi and the way the Gandhis and the Congress party are responding to the National Herald case. Because that's really what I want to talk about.
Absolutely. You should have come there.
What was the need today to stage these spectacles on the streets of Delhi? The thousands that were brought to 10 Janpath in the Congress party. The fact that repeated press conferences were being given by senior congressmen on the streets of Delhi. You were creating a media spectacle or a tamasha because you wanted to hype this up for political purposes.
Absolutely. I'll tell you why. If you were not there and nobody was there, today you would be asking me, your leaders are isolated. Nobody is with them. Your leaders are isolated. 5 people didn't turn up.
So this is a demonstration of support.
This is not demonstration of support. This is our natural way to say that you are being unfair to our leadership. Secondly, we want to be there whenever our leadership is in crisis or our leadership
want to be there, or were these people bussed in from Raebareli and Amethi as many suspect?
Not at all. We were all there because we wanted to be there.
So this is genuine popular Indian support behind the Gandhis?
Absolutely. Today's people who were there were largely party people. But of course, if we wanted to drum up support, if we wanted to make a spectacle, if we wanted to make a political message out of this, we would have said, let all and sundry come, and there would have been 10 times the crowd.
You have made a political message out of it, short of actually marching to court with hordes behind you, which you didn't do, because that would have been improper. Intimidation of the court, if not improper.
Thank you.
Beyond that, you actually did stage a spectacle. Do you think this has changed the way the Congress party, and more importantly, the way Sonia and Rahul Gandhi are viewed by the country? Do you think somehow their standing will now be different compared to May 2014 when they crashed to just 44 seats?
Every time you hit a bad patch, every time you go down, your perception about you obviously changes. And then people watch you to see how well and how quickly you're going to recover from a setback.
Are you bouncing back?
I think we are. I think there are many indications that we are bouncing back. And there are many reasons why we should bounce back.
Do you believe that this case will be compared sensibly and justifiably to the cases Indira Gandhi faced when she lost power? Do you believe that just as she came back to power because she had to face a trial in court, Sonia and Rahul can do the same again?
Well, I think it depends largely on how many more stupid things the NDA will do. If the NDA will follow in the footsteps of...
But at the moment, it's not the NDA. It's a private individual who's gone to court. The court has taken cognizance. The court has given summons, and the Delhi High Court has upheld that. Where does Mr. Modi come in? That's what I keep pointing out.
I've been in the system very long to know how these things work. Wait a while. Next step, Mr. Modi's public prosecutor will have to be present. This matter can't remain in the hands of Mr. Swamy. The public prosecutor will have to be present. He will have to take a position. He will have to take a stand. And whatever is, I believe,
and that is because
wrong.
the law of the land would require the public prosecutor to be present to take a stand. It's not Mr. Modi intervening and interfering.
No,
it's
he's
the
not.
procedure of the court.
And then
so
we
again,
would want
it won't
to know.
prove anything.
Absolutely.
It won't prove
what
Modi
it will
complicity.
prove, it will improve. What it will prove is what Mr. Modi's position and the government's position is on playing with the company law of the land and the criminal law of the land in a manner that Mr. Swamy is doing.
I'll tell you why I'm asking these questions, because actually what I suspect, and many others do, is that wrongly and without the facts supporting you, which is what makes it embarrassing, the Gandhis are actually trying to make it seem, and Congress is trying to make it seem, as if this whole National Herald case is a concoction of the Modi government targeting you and trying to be unfair and wrong. And the truth of the matter is, it doesn't stand up, because you claimed, Mr. Azad has claimed it, Abhishek Singhvi has claimed it, so many of our other leaders have claimed it, that in fact proof is that the Enforcement Directorate opened a case, closed a case, and then the Enforcement Directorate head got sacked. Now, none of that stands up. And do you know why?
Why?
I'll tell you. Do you really want to know why? Because it will embarrass you.
Of course.
It will embarrass you.
Yeah.
Number one, the Finance Minister under whom the Enforcement Directorate serves has made it clear repeatedly that no decision was taken, no action was taken, no notice was issued, and therefore no file was opened or case was opened by the ED. Because no file or case was opened, no file or case was closed, and therefore couldn't be reopened. So first, that story that a case was opened and closed simply isn't true. Unless you turn around and say Arun Jaitley is lying.
No. So everything we say is untrue, and everything by an NDA minister is true.
But hang on a second. If Arun Jaitley is lying, he can be proven to be a liar so easily. He wouldn't risk lying on this matter.
Oh, I'd be surprised. I'd be surprised the kind of things people get away with. But it's very simple.
So you really believe he's lying when he says
all I'm saying is there are 2 points of view.
No case opened, no file opened, no decision taken?
There are 2 points of view. Why are you automatically assuming that point of view is correct and ours is wrong? There are responsible people on our side. They also have good reason to come to this conclusion. As I said, today is not the trial. Today the truth is not going to be brought out.
I'll tell you why in this instance. As an interviewer, I'm believing what Mr. Jaitley says and not what a whole horde of congressmen have said. For the second reason that I'm about to bring out, this is this. Congress also went on to say that the head of the ED, because he had closed the case, was removed. A new man was brought in, the new man opened it up. Actually, Rajan Kotoj wasn't removed. Rajan Kotoj was on his 3rd consecutive extension as head of the ED. At the same time, he was concurrently also serving as Secretary Heavy Industries. He had held both jobs for a year. At the end of that year, the government said, a man can't carry on doing 2 jobs. We need a new head of ED, and this man needs to be able to concentrate full time on his promotion as Secretary Heavy Industry. At that point of time, they left him to fulfill his new job, and they appointed a new head of ED. He wasn't removed. You can't carry on holding 2 jobs forever.
Sure, but you can carry on holding a job for a year.
So are you saying they should have carried on holding a job for 2 years?
I don't know. Should he be had for a year? I mean, if you're talking about...
Because they couldn't find a replacement.
Oh, come on. In this vast country of millions of people, they couldn't find a replacement. They couldn't find a replacement who was pliable enough.
Just a moment. It's his removal you're objecting to. Now you're saying they should have actually removed him earlier. You're contradicting your position.
All I'm saying is manipulation. You keep somebody too long, you remove a person. A lot of this has to do with...
How does that manipulation connect to National Herald? It doesn't.
I don't know, because...
But your party are the ones who made the connection.
My party is only today saying that this is what prima facie we think has happened.
But prima facie on what grounds?
The grounds are not to be disclosed. Even Mr. Swamy doesn't have to disclose grounds.
The facts are against you, therefore you have to disclose your grounds.
I'm sorry, facts are not against us, because
I've just quoted the facts.
Today, no. Today they are facts because you're telling me that these are facts. I'll tell you some other facts.
They've been in the newspapers if you would pick up the papers and research.
No, but everything in the newspapers is not right. I'm sorry, everything in the newspapers is not right. Anything
this is beginning to sound like Alice through the looking glass.
Of course it is.
I mean what I mean. I will define words to be what I want them to be. And you say of course it is.
All I am doing now is, having learnt from you how to run a story which is absurd. If it's absurd, I now have decided that this is what we will do.
But you know,
but we will choose our time to prove the facts, because when we need to prove the facts, we will prove them. When
you know, this is not just like Alice in Wonderland.
Like
it's also more bizarre, because this allegation that you're making about the head of the ED being removed as part of a vendetta because the man was not opening a case and his replacement opened a case, all of that actually happened, by the way, in August.
Yes.
Rahul Gandhi made his comment 4 months later.
Yes.
Oddly enough, 24 hours after the Delhi High Court refused to quash the case.
Because you have to choose your moment. I mean, you don't.
But he chose the wrong moment.
No, that is your assessment.
In fact, most people were left believing he was actually slighting the judiciary, that he was actually suggesting Justice Gore and the judiciary work at the behest.
Very categorically he has said.
Not when he made this comment. Not when he made this comment.
No. What is happening outside the judiciary, there is no reason why we can't question it. Judiciary, even when it's wrong, can only be questioned in the manner in which you can, which is by filing an appeal.
I don't deny that you can question what's happening in the judiciary. But for Rahul Gandhi, 24 hours after the Delhi High Court rejected your attempt to quash the case, for him to then come out and to say, and I'm quoting him, this is 100% pure political vendetta coming out of the PMO, those were his exact words, is for most people, because it's only happening 24 hours after the Delhi High Court decision, an attempt to suggest that the judiciary is working at the behest of the government, and that is questioning the credibility and sincerity of judges.
Not at all.
Justice Gore in particular.
I can say categorically, I can say that that's neither was his intention, and nor should it be taken to mean that. I think it'd be extremely unfair to even widely and vaguely suggest that this was the intent at all.
At least then admit this, that for Rahul Gandhi to have made that comment 24 hours after the Delhi High Court refused to quash the case, was A, extremely bad timing, and B, for him to make that comment without saying that I'm not pointing fingers at the judiciary, was in addition thoughtless, indiscreet, if not inexcusable. Not at that point. He said it 3 days later. The correction came 3 days later.
He may not have said it at that point, but you're not his script writer. You can't insist that Mr. Rahul Gandhi should say only what I want him to say, when I want him to say, and the manner in which I want him to say.
I don't want him to say what I want him to say. I want him to say things that are correct and don't look stupid and don't become an albatross around his neck.
Today I get the impression that you're only concerned about not having followed a script that you had in your mind.
No. I'm concerned about the thoughtless indiscretion
and the
slur on the judiciary from a man who one day wants to be Prime Minister of India.
I am saying that he has no such intention. He has several times made it clear that this is not an issue with the judiciary, except that if we feel the judiciary has got something wrong, we will exercise our right to appeal all the way to the Supreme Court.
Can I suggest something to you? I think, and most people may even agree, that this claim about the head of the ED opening and closing cases, this claim that the man was then removed because he'd taken a decision that favored the Congress party, was actually dredged up by Congress as a way of covering up for the fact that earlier Rahul Gandhi looked as if he was casting aspersions on the judiciary. This was a cover-up or an excuse for his indiscretion.
Don't find multiple ways of somehow pinning it on Mr. Rahul Gandhi that he doesn't have respect for the judiciary. I will not accept it. I will not accept it because I know personally I know what a high esteem he holds the judiciary in, and I know that in terms of propriety he will never falter. In terms of propriety he will never slip up as far as
my last question, something else that became known in the last 24 hours, coincidentally before the hearing today, is that the Congress, is that AJL intends to convert itself into a non-profit company under Section 8 of the 2013 Companies Act, which is akin to the old Section 25. And people are intrigued. Is this being done because you want to add a further element of security to bolster your case against the one that Swami has brought? Because many people feel, otherwise why are you doing it? Is this a way of strengthening your position on the Swami case?
No, not at all. Not at all. This is a logical conclusion of what has been attempted to be done, which I believe is perfectly legitimate, which is something that you see happen in the world all the time. Mergers, acquisitions happen in the world all the time. You may reject the merger and acquisition. They are rejected time and time again by company law board or by company court.
Odd that you use the word acquisition, because acquisition is when a party buys another party, often asset strips it and then sells it to make money, shutting down the original operation.
That's a perfectly legitimate legal procedure that's available.
Except that the word acquisition suggests that Young India has acquired AJL for its assets and that the Gandhis will asset strip it and take it away.
But Young India can't, you know that. It's a 25
In which case, why did AJL have to now decide that it wants to become a 25 section company itself?
For the simple reason that it's functioning virtually like a Section 25 company or Section 8 company, as you said. It's functioning virtually as such a company, so you might as well formalize it.
And you're really saying to me that this is not motivated in any way by fear that the Swamy case could go wrong, and this would be the additional security that might just convince the judge that you're innocent.
No. We don't have to use any ploy to convince the judge of anything. I believe our legal case is very firm, very strong, and if it can go wrong at all, it will go wrong for Mr. Swamy.
All right. Salman Khurshid, a pleasure talking to you.
Thank you.